In my last video, I used Bonding's Doug and Tiffany to illustrate the steps you need to take to woo and seduce your desired goddess. So be sure to go back and watch that video. But today, we're moving on to the next step. Your gorgeous, wonderful, powerful, amazing alpha female said yes to a date. She agreed to go out with you. Now what? Stay tuned because today I'm giving you 3 practical steps to take for a successful first date with an alpha female. Now I wanted to do a video covering this scene because I loved it that much. I truly did. I thought the steps that were laid out here and the interactions that took place between Doug and Tiff were so well written and so well portrayed because they were so accurate in how an alpha female approaches a first date and the potential faux pas that you as the man might run into and what to do to save it. What to do when you feel like, oh my God, things are going wrong. How do I redeem it? Okay, we saw that in this scene of Doug and Tiff's first date. And the first thing that Doug did right is he established that there were no expectations or pressure. And Doug did this in a couple of different ways. The first being he chose a fun and casual first date location, okay? And this caused a little bit of an issue right at the start because Tiff came dressed up like it was a proper sit-down date, right? Doug thought that might be a little too intense. So he, planning being emotionally mindful, intelligent, all of these things, was going, I want to take the pressure off. And I think that's a great strategy to use when you are taking an alpha female on a first date. Keep it fun, keep it playful, keep it light. No expectations, no pressure whatsoever. This creates a sense of encouraged autonomy, not just autonomy, but encourage that my date is okay with me not being vulnerable right now. My date is okay with me being me, him being him. So there's this encouraged autonomy, but in addition to that, we have this environment of emotional safety that's created. When your alpha female goes into the date knowing, hey, we're just gonna have fun. This is gonna be fun. I get to laugh, I get to play, and there is no pressure on getting deep, getting vulnerable, getting intimate, having sex, none of that. We just want to let our guard down, see if we even like you, like your company. And Doug did that very, very well. And the second thing Doug did is he made sure this fun and casual place had distracting activities. And this was a very, very wise move on Doug's part because he knows he's dealing not only with an alpha female, but a guarded alpha female. So this essentially, by choosing a fun, casual place with distracting activities like games, so on, he was able to create an emotional out for Tiff, where she shows up knowing, I don't have to just sit here at dinner with this beautiful music and all these couples being intimate and vulnerable, and I'm dressed up and you're dressed up and this is really intense and I have to learn about you and you have to learn about me. He knows that that's probably not going to happen. And if you're watching this show too, you probably got the same vibe that Tiff is not gonna be, wearing her heart on her sleeve on the first date. So let's give her an emotional out. And he did it in a beautiful way. He chose a fun, casual place with distracting activities, encouraged her autonomy, no pressure, and it paid off very well. Doug was also present and emotionally mindful. And there were 4 times this was on display in a fantastic way. The first one, when Tiff showed up and she's more dressed up than he is, she was expecting more of a formal date, and he took her to this wonderful little arcade and bar, whatever. She's awkward, and you can see it. She feels uncomfortable, she feels out of place, she feels like she's overdressed, whatever. And he immediately reads her awkwardness and soothes it through affirmation. He says that she looks really beautiful, all of this, and he goes to explain why he chose the location that he chose, all of that. He soothed it, he soothed the emotion. He immediately read it, he was that present, he was that emotionally mindful, and he instantly soothed it. That is a huge thing. Your alpha female may not verbally tell you that she's displeased. She very well might. But if she's guarded like Tiff was, she might just throw off a little micro expression or whatever. And you have to be mindful and present enough to go, oh shit, she was smiling, now she's not. What just happened? And that's exactly what Doug did. He saw, okay, I have to soothe this tension and this place of a little bit of insecurity. Very, very present and emotionally mindful. Doug also didn't personalize or take offense when he ran into Tiff's emotional boundaries. He's trying to get to know her. He's sharing his life. He's sharing facts about him, stories about him. And when he tries to get some information from her, she's uncomfortable. She's awkward. She doesn't really like it, okay? But he doesn't go into his head. He doesn't go into his head and go, oh my God, she doesn't like me. She's rejecting me. I knew this was a bad idea. And he doesn't start spiraling. He stays present with her. And he stays emotionally mindful with her. And that is the power of confidence, gentlemen. Just because you are a subtype, just because you consider yourself a beta, does not mean you can't have confidence. You're going to need some confidence if you have any chance of winning your alpha female. So that is what Doug showed, that I'm not taking this personally. You can be guarded. You don't have to be vulnerable. And it's not a reflection on me. A lot of emotional safety there for Tiff. And then when Tiff actually starts to shut down, like legit shut down and want to like go away, end the date, that would be a point where a lot of you men would start scrambling, get in your head, freaking out. Doug didn't do that. He instantly redirected. Like, okay, whoa. We asked a little bit too much. We pushed this girl a little bit too hard unintentionally because she's very guarded. So we're not going to push anymore. Nope, we are going to instantly redirect. And he did that in such a beautiful, beautiful way. He redirects by saying, hey, we don't have to talk. As a matter of fact, I brought you here so we wouldn't have to talk and I could just kick your ass in some pinball. And he redirects, gets a smile, okay, lightens the mood a little bit, gets her to even chuckle a little bit, gets her another drink, and we redirect. We go, okay, no pressure. You're safe. You don't have to share. You don't have to be vulnerable. Let's redirect and let's just have fun. Keep it light and keep it fun and keep it playful. And Doug did that very, very well. And furthermore, he removes the perceived pressure to get vulnerable, to be intimate. He actually says, no, we're going to play games now, and you aren't allowed to talk. Ooh, talk about a soft dom move right there. And it was so beautifully executed where she starts, oh man, he goes, no talking. And what does that do for Tiff? Not only do I not have to talk, I'm being told not to talk. I'm being told not to get vulnerable. Could you imagine the level of emotional safety that he was able to infuse into Tiff? And that's exactly what happened. But before we get to the very positive result of all these techniques that Doug experienced, his third wonderful trait here, and the trait that you need as well on your first date, all dates really, but especially your first date with your alpha female, is self-control. Doug had both emotional self-control and sexual self-control. And the combination of these two created a beautiful and deep sense of safety for Tiff. We had an instance in the date where Tiff's personal sub came onto the scene. Doug did not know about him. And in this very awkward, confusing, questionable conversation and interaction, Doug did not lose his cool. He didn't explode out of anger. He didn't get aggressive or demeaning or anything like that. He maintained self-control. He wasn't going to be disrespected, even in the conversation. He said, Tiff, would you give me the respect of telling me the truth? So he wasn't a doormat. He wasn't a pushover. But he had self-control. He wasn't just going to get flippant and reactive and explosive with his emotions. And that showed her, okay, I hardly know him, but even in this weird, awkward, questionable situation, he's safe. Okay, big, important trait to have. And the second part of that is sexual safety. Yeah, of course, he probably wants to get down with her, okay? But that's not even something that he's putting on the radar. It's not. He again is showing genuine interest in her. When you men take that interest off of your alpha female and put it on her sex, what she can do for you sexually, she's going to see that, read that, feel that, sense that. And the last thing that your alpha female is going to want is to feel objectified, pressured, manipulated, coerced, whatever. So that's why it's so important to show her no pressure. No pressure emotionally, no pressure sexually. And what was the result of all of these techniques that Doug implemented in his first date with his alpha female? What's the result? She walked into the date awkward, uncomfortable in her head. How'd the date end? They're making out, children. Okay, she's happy, she's smiling, she's laughing, and she's sucking his face off. Okay, so let this be a lesson to you, gentlemen. You follow the same principles, you will have similar results. Go into your date with your alpha female without expectations or pressure. Be present and emotionally mindful with your alpha female, and act with honor, integrity, and self-control. That is really what she is looking for. Your alpha female wants to feel honored, valued, respected, not pushed, pressured, objectified, coerced, none of that. And even if things get a little dicey on your date, go back to these principles here. Go back to being present and emotionally mindful. Look at her, respond to her. And do so with that sense of confidence, going, I am here for you, to invest in you, and I'm not going anywhere.